All right, guys, we are going to get started here with our midday stretch break. Like I said, tension piece of equipment really can be anything. I do have a band here, but this can be a towel, a blanket, or just a broomstick. As you can see, all you need to be able to do is just hold something like this, and we're wrapping it back here like this, and we're just holding a chest stretch on our own time here. I'm just giving us a time marker, but you're able to take breaks whenever you want. And if you don't have that piece of equipment, other thing I recommend is just joining a wall right here, stretching that chest, and you can play around with what exact positioning you have your hand at. If something's delivering a little bit more of a stretch to that area, that's where I want us to focus. Because our chest does have different areas, certain angles can really make a difference. And bending that forearm kind of will dictate how much bicep stretch will get in there as well, so that can be beneficial too. If you are stretching on the wall, what I was going to say is hold those stretches for 20, 20 seconds-ish, then go ahead, feel free to switch to the other side. Again, we're kind of in this zone just for a little bit of time, just because everybody's using a different piece of equipment here. So everyone takes breaks on their own time. Again, we never want to feel pain in stretching. We want to feel a slight discomfort from that little bit of tension. And we want to hold in that place, focusing on breathing, mainly below the diaphragm here, trying to avoid the chest, breathing from our stomachs. That tells our nervous system we're ready and we're here to relax, which really helps our muscles adjust to that tension. And right there, guys, go ahead, separate yourselves from that piece of equipment, that tension. And what I'm going to have you guys do is spread your legs right down here. And I'm just going to have you guys go right down the middle, hinging at the hips. From there, you feel free to kind of just let your spine extend, touch the ground if you want to. Otherwise, crossing these arms over, if our hands have too much support on the ground, crossing that can kind of just get more of a stretch going for us. Same thing, we hold the stretch a little bit longer, so if you ever feel you need to come back up, that stretch is getting a little too much, go ahead, take some time up top to relax, and then when you're ready. And from there, guys, I'm going to have you come on back up. Staying in this position, though, I'm going to have you squat down and just kind of shift a little bit side to side here, trying to stretch whatever leg is going straight right here. We're also getting some glute activation going on back here. If that's a little bit too much, you can always come up, stretch, come up, stretch as well. But if we stay low, we're going to get a little glute activation, which is good for us, especially if we've been sitting for a large portion of the day. And really, this is kind of just a warm-up to try to get some blood flowing to our lower extremities. Because right now, what I'm going to have you do is just pick one side here, just focusing on stretching that interior thigh right there. Just picking one side here, just getting a nice little stretch in there. From there, go ahead, cross it over to the other side, same thing. trying to hold that stretch, trying to avoid any bouncing movements. That's true for all of our stretches. Just because whenever you bounce like that, it's almost like a rubber band. If you stretch that muscle too quick, too fast, it's going to just come right back together. From there, guys, go ahead, stand up here. Similar movement. I'm going to have you stand, hamstring stretch, hinging at the hips first, and then go ahead. Feel free to let that back extend, touching our toes, the ground if we want to. Otherwise, crossing our arms here if you want to take that focus out of our minds and just focus on the stretch. If you ever feel you want to come up from this stretch, what I want you guys to do, and you can practice now if you've never done it before, put your hands on your shins and then track your hands up your shins as you extend the back and then extend through the hips. That's how we're going to stand back up. That's just going to help us protect our low back a little bit. But feel free to stay down in this stretch as long as you feel comfortable. And right there, guys, I'm going to have you place your hands on your shins, extend your lower back, set your hands trace up to your knees, and extend at the hips. That's going to stand us up. Feel free here, guys, to get into this lunge position here. Just a normal lunge position with the neutral pelvis, upright torso. We're going to focus a little bit on this hip flexor. If this isn't comfortable, maybe we don't want to be on our knees. Another option here is just a nice Spider-Man stretch. But we're going to be in this position. And if this stretch maybe isn't enough for us, a couple options we do have is we can run with both of those, hold those each for a few seconds. And if neither one of that work, one very last resort option, and honestly, it might not even be necessary. Maybe you're pretty flexible and you don't really have to worry about this stretch specifically. But you can also try leaning back. And what that does is we have some hip flexors. Well, obviously we're stretching our hip flexor, but we have some muscles that cross over the pelvis there. And we want to be careful with that stretch just because we don't want too much friction going across that pelvis with that muscle. So if you do take that approach, I really want you to be careful with it and do try these other options before you go. And right there, guys, I'm going to have you switch it over, doing the same thing on this other side. And from there, guys, we're going to go ahead, take it on down to the ground. Spread your legs for me, similar to what we were doing up top. Stretching right down the center, attacking those adductors, those interior thigh muscles, right down the center. And from there, go ahead, raise yourself up, one leg out in front, hamstring stretch here. And from there, go ahead, rotate on over to the other side here. Go ahead, raise yourself up there. We're going to lean it on back into the mat here, focusing a little bit on our glutes. What we're going to do is we're going to raise one leg up, ankle onto that opposite heel, and then pulling in that bottom leg. While we're doing that, feel free to rotate that ankle down at the bottom here clockwise as well as counterclockwise. And the reason we like this stretch is it helps us target not only the glute in general, but this piriformis muscle down here, which might get tight if we've been sitting in a desk for a large portion of the day. And right there, guys, go ahead, switch, same thing, opposite leg. And right there, guys, go ahead, raise yourselves up. Find yourselves in a comfortable position. We're going to finish off, of course, with our four-way neck stretch. That begins with our chin, tucking down into our chest to stretch the back of our neck. And go ahead, raise it up right there, tilting back now. Chin up to the ceiling, eyes to the sky, stretching the front of our neck. And recenter right there, ear to opposite shoulder, stretching the side of our neck. And raise it up, same thing, other side.